Generic greetings and welcome back to Prison Architect, where before we do anything else, we really do need to expand this kitchen. It's currently pretty much as we built it a while ago, and it's so not. It's so not up to capacity. Let me place a couple of these in. How are we going to place these? Maybe like that? That would be acceptable. The problem is the power requirement. What is the power requirement for all of those? Well, we'll find out probably when we blow the grid up in but a moment. Anyway, in the previous episode of Prison Architect, we were going ahead and well, expanding, and we did so quite successfully. We managed to get this entire bit down here extended, which meant that we have now more planning for the extra dormitories and the workshops and all the other buildings that we haven't yet decided upon, but probably this is going to be solitary, but we'll see how that one goes. We also got the parole increased up to 3, because we only had the one over here, which meant that the clinic could be expanded again. And then mainly it was to do with the shop, the mailroom, and the library, which is now, as you can see, fully built. And although it's quite quite oversized, it is now at least functional, which means that if we go over to our needs, we can see that the needs for literature and luxuries has not gone down. Oh well, at least we've done our best. So yeah, that's a thing. So it looks like people are still working over there. We now have some more intake, and that means our total prisoners is now 111. If we go over to our intelligence and informants, we can see that we don't have any traits that we should really be worried about. You can see we've got an ex-law enforcement, which normally is a problem, but with this facility, not so much. But there is some discussion to be had about that when it comes to changing this up, but that'll be a future us problem. Current us is focusing on probably getting the power grid extended to at least power this, although I'm very well aware that we have this weird gap now where basically this is powering all of that and these two, as well as the workshops back there that isn't in yet. And then this one isn't built, and this one here is only powering this little section. So what I'm going to do is go down and then just place that in there, and eventually this will change to that one, and that's just going to be a whole kettle of fish. What we need to do in this episode is, at a minimum, we want to move this common room over to here, as well as up to there. And then we probably want to plan this building off, and okay, the chief is calling. We've just discovered that one of the teachers we bring in for the informatics classes has been smuggling huge amounts of contraband. They've been fired, but the damage has been done at this point. Okay, well, you know what? Shakedown. It's currently locked down. We might as well do that. So we have a total of 56 guards, which is mainly the standard guards, but we do have, 36 regular guards, 20 dog handlers. So we actually got quite a decent percentage of dog handlers in here. And we're going to search the rest of the prison. The reason I'm doing it now is because I'm really not comfortable with them having whatever the teachers allow them to, well, is smuggled in for them, because at the moment we have a fairly decent security arrangement. I mean, we have our metal detectors, we have the dogs, we have I guess regular searches or semi-regular searches. The problem is obviously stuff can be thrown over the wall. So for example, this person here is almost certainly just going to gather something that's been flung over the wall, so that's always going to be an issue. But eventually we will detect it, but I'd rather search for it now and find it. So we've got, in no particular order, apart from exact order of left to right, two 2 knives, 3 forks, 3 needles, 6 bottles of medicine, 4 pairs of scissors, 14 pairs of scissors rather, 2 bottles of booze, 2 bottles of poisons, 17 packs of cigs, 4 saws, 13 cell phones, 4 screwdrivers, 4 drugs again, or medication and drugs, shears, 1 pair of, hammer, a claw type, 3 drills of unknown corded or uncorded construction, and 3 dog handlers apparently. No, it's 3 of those custom diggy implements. So there we are. So we've searched and hopefully removed the majority of things there. Let me just extend this down. It's going to be our water, and we want to connect up the water pipes for this new building. And there we are. There's that sorted. So that's all in. And hopefully, we do need a guard patrol. Actually, we need a couple of patrols. Guard patrols in and around here. It looks like the dog's already on patrol on the outside, which is good. And then we need one inside just to get some mainly line of sight. Obviously, eventually we'll go for CCTV and that sort of thing, but this is all connected to what I mentioned earlier and have hinted on several times about maybe upgrading the facility to a medium risk facility. At the moment, there's not enough prisoners working in the workshops, and I think bringing in the medium risk will do that. However, If we do that, then we can get prisoners that are disposed to violence and aggression and things like that, which means that we have to then account for it in our building, which subsequently also means that we need to build things like protective custody to get the snitches and the ex-law enforcement off the table and into a secure area. We need a security room. We need more areas. Well, I say more areas. We need some areas because we currently haven't got any for our solitary, which I think is going to be a big row around here. I didn't want to... I wanted to leave this open, but I think having a big row is probably going to be the thing. Actually, no, it's not. No, that's terrible. We're not going to do that at all. I digress. I'm reneging on that. No, we're not going to do it. If we did, it would just be a bit of a nightmare. So yeah, this building will come along to there and along, and then this is going to be our security building, which is going to be all things. It's going to be it's going to be loads of things in here. I'd probably even do that as well, just to have like an entranceway there. I don't really see the point in redoing this, although we want to gap a walkway of 2 around, so it's going to be probably that. And yeah, that's going to be probably a security room like that. And then we'll have things like CCTV, door openers, and phone taps, which is something we haven't got. And then we'll have protective custody in and around here. So that's probably what we'll do. I'm not going to be building that this episode. Really, we need to get all the common room moved and things like that. Also, we probably want to put some flooring in here. So flooring, mosaic tiles, and there we go. Right, I'll also place some flooring in and around here. Currently, you ain't got any. And I'll place it to about there. Then there's the majority of that completerated. Right, so 64,000 in the kitty, getting 4,128, obviously plus minus or whatever the game decides to do at that particular time. It's all based on, well, a number of factors. But there you go. Let's remove some of that. All the extra planning that we really don't need, that is not needed in there. Those are not needed in there. That's being removed. And remove the planning from there. And we'll probably remove the rest there. Actually, no, we'll leave those in there because I think, well, we'll go ahead and place these phone booths. It's always an advantage to have more phone booths in there. And there we are. So this common room does need to be shifted over, and it needs to be shifted over in 2 places. It needs to have this area set to common room, and then finally this area set to common room 2. So we'll go to common room, and we'll place the common room in here. This is going to be primarily for alcoholics group therapy, but obviously if the prisoners just want to go and sit in there and sit on the chairs, then they are more than welcome to do so. In terms of the objects in here, we're going to go dismantle, and we'll dismantle all this. This will obviously have some complications associated with it because we're no longer having any common room items, but hopefully with the speed and the amount of workers that we have, this should be completed fairly expediently. So let's see how we get on. So common room is now removed. I'll place the alcoholics group area first. And we can see there's loads. Oh, I was going to say there's loads of prisoners streaming towards here, but that is the classroom. And you can see that the prisoners do like learning. They just don't like the physical labour, which I think is where we have this this huge gap. Oh, what's on there? Ah, the bug's still in the game. Good for that. Objects, you can minimise it down, but now it's open permanently. Hang on, that's rooms. If I delete that. No, it's just going to stay open. Brilliant. I love that bug. But if you do that, it then gets rid of it. There you go. Bug. So you can't find bug, but it'll still stay a bug. That's a restart problem. Okay, so flooring and concrete tiles. We'll place in there and in there and in there. It's already placed actually, and in there. And then we want to get this common room done. So objects, and we'll go for chairs. Chairs will be basically in a sort of circle type thing around here, like that. I think that's quite good. And we'll have sort of the person who's, for lack of a better term, chairing the meeting there. Ideally you want some coffee as you come in and some other beverage. By the way, today's beverage is where have I put it? There we go. Pink grapefruit juice, but there's not much left in it because I forgot to refill. Anyway, so that is our common room up here. What else can we place? We might as well place... Do you want to place a couple of phone booths or something? It's a bit of a waste to have nothing else in here. I don't think a pool table is really that good. Could place a table and a bench in it. Like that. They'll be able to sit there, yeah, okay. And then maybe a raw phone booze like that. Yeah, why not? It's a bit different. So that's in there. The majority of this will hopefully be moved from here and then shifted over. And there's our common room there, which the psychologist will hopefully utilise for alcohol group therapy instead of going all the way over there. But you know what the game is like. It'll do whatever it wants. But to be fair, this area here isn't set to anything particular in terms of grading. And you can see that the only thing we have is... Oh, now we have staff only. Staff only around the outside. Oh, it's because we had that subsidence, of course. Staff only around the outside, and a couple of extra rooms like the kennel and stuff. Staff only, and that's it. We don't have the rest of staff only. There could be some merit in moving this this kennel over to there, but I'm not entirely sure. I'm not convinced that it's strictly necessary. Anyway, so down to this common room. This is where we're going to have our main area. So we'll go for pool tables. And we'll place some pool tables in along here. We're going to place a hell of a lot of pool tables because they are quite decent. In terms of televisions, it's going to be the same sort of thing. And we'll rotate it around. So we'll have televisions there and there, I think. That should be about right. Then chairs go right in front like so. Actually, do we want to place them in like that? Yeah, that'd be fine. And then 1, 2, 3. We'll get rid of that one, shift it down, rotate that around 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's a hell of a lot of television there. In fact, you know what we could do? Get rid of that. Plus, put the small televisions in there. And then we've got the TVs, large these days, which can go in, say, there. Like that. And that's going to be a massive area. It's interesting that the TVs were introduced very early on in the game. I think, if I'm not mistaken, they came out when the game came out. And then they didn't do much at all. I don't think they actually... I think people originally stood on them to watch them instead of this having this area of effect. And then they were removed for a hell of a long time until... I wouldn't say fairly recently because, well, it was years ago when they were added, but yeah. I guess it's all a matter of perspective, innit? Looks like the big TV's coming along. This big old CRT one, and we can see the area effect is huge. We're not going to utilise the full lot of it. We're just going to do something like this. Which is... Oh, it's actually... It probably is about right. It's weirdly, it's not centered. You see, it's got like half on either side, so that'll be about right. In the area in the center, actually, no, phone booths. We'll probably place a couple of phone booths in there, and then in this area, we'll put some arcade cabinets. Even though they're expensive, I think I'm gonna place them like that. And I place them like that just because I want to see the front of them. And that is our common room, and that is a tunnel. Yeah. So there is prisoners kicking off, wanting to escape. They've got, once again, a fairly decent way, but they are not really too bothered, are they? They just sort of knock it on the head as soon as it kicks off. Let's go to remove, that's remove lights. Remove tunnels. That's what I wanted. There we go. Well, that was correct. So at least we've got all that down there. In terms of the amounts of cooks we have, we've still only got the 6, but remember we've got a number of people working in there. Not for the morning shift though. The morning shift is still the cooks, but they are. Well, it looks like they're managing to do all of that, which is fine. In terms of grantage, produce 10 superior beds, only 10% on that once we got 1. We have Reform Through Education Initiative, 20% on the Foundation Education course, and sadly no one has done the General Education course. Carpentry Apprenticeship is on the go, only 6 finished with a 1 pass, but they're now not here. We can start another Foundation Education program, which is fine. Alcoholics Group, we don't need to put another one in there. Parole Hearing, we've got loads on the go. Spiritual Guidance, we don't need to put another one on there. We've got a 42% pass rate on that one. Behavioural therapy, we could start putting in the queue. That would increase reform. We might as well go ahead and do that. Workshop safety is still on the go. We don't need to put another one in there. Kitchen safety, though, we could get more people working there, so we might as well do that. And carpentry, no, not filled, so that'll be fine. Obviously, we only have one foreman working in here, and a lot of sick on the floor as well. Wonder what that's all about. Anyway, they are cracking on there. So we do have our common room up there done. We have the common room over there done. So that means now, foundation building brick. We're going to build this. This is the size of the room. There's no getting around that. This is just what it's going to be. But I don't know yet exactly what we're going to put in it. I'm very much leaning towards what I mentioned about having this as a low and a medium risk. So what we'd do is we'd have the probably the medium risk in the centre, then low risk on the outside. Maybe I don't know. I haven't really cogitated exactly what prisoners will go where. We could put them there and there, but it will be a mixed facility. They can work wherever they want. I don't know how they're going to interact. Certainly, if we're going to get medium prisoners, we have to have the solitary confinement, and we have to have protective custody. Without that, it will just be all kinds of violence. I'm not going to have, at least I don't plan on having armed guards, but we'll see how that one goes. We're going to not lock that door open or shut. It's just going to be a standard. We're going to remove the common room designation for that. And what I will do now, we got 60 odd grand, is because this is going to be a requirement anyway. I'm going to spend a lot of money on this generator and redo the electrics. So let's see how far we get on. There's a tunnel found there. That could be a legit tunnel. What I'm going to do is tunnel search, and that could also... Oh, that's almost certainly a legit tunnel. Well, they haven't found it. Didn't find anything. Okay, fine. So there's our extra electrical connections there. So we need to think about the load balancing here. So, in terms of these buildings, this one's running hot, and as we can see, we have a problem. This top one runs the workshop, the only workshop in here, in fact, and it runs the kitchen as well as a big lump of buildings over here. That's not acceptable, because this power station needs to power probably the kitchen, these buildings, this building, and these two workshops. These three here will be powered by the center one, and the bottom one will power these three. That's the plan. How do we implement said plan? Well, the electrical connection is a fairly easy one. We run it like that for now. This one, we will probably dismantle utility that. And dismantle... I'm going to have to get rid of that, aren't I? That's a problem. And we'll place that connection in there. Running the large pipe and the electrical cable on top of each other was a mistake. Because now I can't dismantle them. Because that one, and that one needs to be powered from... needs to be powered from this center one, which will be disconnected here and then connected up to that. You notice I'm not connecting them yet because it'll cause all manner of problems. So that'll go to there like so. A large pipe will be placed back in, and then from here that'll come along to there. Oh, hang on. No, that is right, but also wrong at the same time. It is right in the sense that it is the right things that we want, but it is not correct because I've still got the connection here. I have prioritized the building of it, so it should be dismantled first, which I'm thankful to say that's what's happening. And then we'll put the pipework back in. And that'll all be on the new grid. And then the old grid, which starts there, will come along to power that one. Bit of a mess, but that'll come along here. And then power that one. And that one. That's assuming it will. We might even need a fourth. We might even need a fourth one. But I'm quietly confident that we'll be alright. Okay, no, I'm not confident. Looking at this, that's running at about just over a third, that, and we've only got one fully fledged workshop. So I think this power station can only do 2, which means we need an additional workshop. We will have to fix that. Anyway, so we haven't got the water connection, so we'll place that back in, because a lot of these are without water. But that's a lot of the work done there, which we needed to get done. So that's good. I'm glad we've got that sorted. Let's go over to the flooring, and we'll place some concrete tiles in there, and also mosaic floor can go there because it currently doesn't have it. That's locked open, yes. These have got the flooring in, yes. In terms of people working, let's have a quick look. Room quality, well, we haven't got that on. Right, so working, you can see that we have 10 jobs, but 8 people are working in the kitchen, that's fine. In terms of workshop, that's very disappointing. So 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 people. So only half of the jobs for one workshop have been taken. Okay. Yeah, that's a problem. That is an issue. I think the only solution would be simply to get more prisoners of medium risk or above. But you can see the jobs for laundry, for cleaning cupboard, for the shop, mailroom and library are pretty much full apart from the mailroom, so that's okay. That's fine. What I am going to do is bulldoze that, because that should be a walkway of 2 all the way around, and it's currently a little bit squished up, and I want to fix that. So I'll place a wall like that. And then a wall's going to go along there anyway for a jail door to go in there, like so. That's better. That's better. That's what we wanted. Right. So, we've just released another prisoner. Let's have a quick look at our grading before we knock this off. Okay, punishment is increased from 6 to 7, so that has gone up. Reform is 3, so that hasn't changed. Security is 2. I think that was about the same. Might have been on 1. Can't really remember. And health was on 0, but has went to -1 some time ago, so that hasn't changed recently either. Reoffending rate has gone down to 14%. That is to be expected since we did reduce our parole early stuff. You can see paroled early is actually no, to be fair, reoffending rate is not just paroled early, it's also the people that have left, and that's to do with reform. Paroled early, 45 with a 6% reoffending rate, even though our cutoff is, I believe, at the moment 15. It was 20 and then 33 above that. In terms of capacity, 112, daily profit 6 grand plus or minus whatever the game wants to, and prison value is coming up to 500,000, 410,000 generic units of currency, so not bad at all. So I think we will leave it there. A little bit of a shorter episode, but needs must. We have got the MaxSec infrastructure implementation grant. We are still progressing with our Reform Through Education initiative, and also carpentry apprenticeships up to 30%, so that'll mean that if we go to this one, we can see, yes, 2 pass, 25% pass rate, so hopefully we'll get that done sooner rather than later. So this building here, assuming that we're going to go with medium risk prisoners, which I'm pretty confident we are now, but I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions on that one, whether you think we should do that or not, because if we do, then it's going to change it up a little bit in also many ways, and also a lot of unknown ways. We don't yet know exactly what the total change would be. Obviously, there would be more violence. That's just a given with the type of prisoners that we'd get. But I'm hoping that, well, we'd also earn some more money. With the increase of violence, though, comes decreased reform, and all of the things that go with that. And to be fair, one of the only reasons why I'm doing it is because I want more people working in the workshop, because otherwise these buildings don't have much of a purpose. Will bringing medium risk prisoners or normal risk prisoners, whichever term you prefer, help that? I don't know, but we can only find out. If that is the case, though, and we bring them in, then this is going to be our area for, well, security. We're going to have armed guards just as a precaution, but also the armory will be there for the taser rollout, which we'll have to do. We'll also look at CCTV monitors and all of that sort of thing, and door control systems, which we are very much lacking, and also the phone taps, which we'll have at least a couple of, and then we'll have a big protective custody area at the back, and then also mean we have to do our solitary stuff. So it's a big overhaul, but possibly worth it, possibly not. Let me know what you think, and we will go from there. As always, hope you have enjoyed the video and the series much. Thanks very much for watching. Take care, and generic parlings.